diabetes, heart disease, cancer, things like Alzheimer's.
We've got to ask ourselves what we need to do to make that happen. And that's what this entire program was designed to do, to become the most healthy and most exuberant, most vibrant that you can possibly be.
In this podcast, we also, you mentioned NFKB, nuclear factor kappa beta,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Which sounds like we just joined a college
Exactly.
fraternity.
Yeah, right.
But also that is for, it's specifically talks about cellular inflammation.
Yes.
And so here we are,
Yeah.
we're back to inflammation again.
Absolutely, you're back to that. And NFKB being a master regulator of cellular inflammation. In other words, we can go into our bodies with certain nutrients and we can stop certain components of cellular inflammation. We can go in and actually turn off the ability at a cellular level of cells to produce inflammatory cytokines like interleukin 6 or interleukin 8. We can tell them to slow down and stop producing tumor necrosis factor alpha. We can tell them to do these things with certain nutrients. But when it comes to who's calling the shot on those other types of inflammatory cytokines, who's telling them to upregulate, we got to look at the bigger sister in the picture, and that's nuclear factor kappa beta. It is a master regulator of downstream inflammatory cytokines, like interleukin 6, interleukin 8, interleukin 3, interleukin 1b, and the other cytokines that we've mentioned. So nuclear factor kappa beta is something that you really want to talk about inhibiting. It also gets its upstream information from an SST1 situation we can talk about in a while, but nuclear factor kappa beta on its own is really, really counterproductive to our ultimate health. When we talk about pathways of disease and aging being the same pathways, your ability to institute those pathways and to encourage them, to activate them at a young age versus waiting until you got older, simply because of the way you eat, the way you live, activating prematurely the same pathways that you would have encountered as you got older. We're looking at nuclear factor kappa beta. If I could get you to live your life so that ultimately you would succumb to the aging process, you would succumb to nuclear factor kappa beta signaling in the brain. It's the one that goes into the hypothalamus, creates an inflammatory condition in the hypothalamus part of the brain.
And hypothalamus being the gland that's in the brain, right behind the optical nerves.
That's correct. And is the seat of where your super charismatic nucleus is for your circadian rhythm. It's where it gets the light and tells you when to go to sleep and when not to. Downregulates all of your biochemical clocks and keeps everything in regulation. That's the hypothalamus. And that all the way, by the way, also downregulates all of your important hormones. It sends signals to the pituitary, which then tells everything from your gonads to your thyroid and your adrenals and everything downstream. It tells those glands what to do. And so the hypothalamus is actually the master hormonal regulator as well. And NFKB, nuclear factor kappa beta, as it elevates with age, reaches a level where it inflames the hypothalamus. It inflames the microglial cellular structures in the hypothalamus to create a condition called hypothalamic microinflammation. That in turn shuts off gonadotropic releasing hormone. Gonadotropic releasing hormone is a master regulator of anabolic move forward building positions in your entire biochemistry. It's the one that keeps youth running through you. We're not done with life. We've got a lot to go. That's what gonad releasing hormone does downstream in your body. So when you shut it off with nuclear factor kappa beta induced hypothalamic microinflammation, when you shut it off, you tell all of the processes in your body to begin going away. to ensue into a catabolic, non-anabolic condition, to begin down-regulated destruction, and you become aged. That's the power of nuclear factor kappa beta. And that's why a foundational program must be instituted and adhered to in order to interfere with what aging normally brings to the human structure.
Okay, so just to recap that, nuclear factor kappa beta causes inflammation in the hypothalamus, in that gland.
That's right.
And that in turn causes or prevents the proper hormones that your body needs to maintain an anabolic condition.
Correct.
And AMPK is something that goes to fight against NFKB.
And AMPK, in its ability to downregulate mTOR, also has a potent inhibitory effect on the production of NFKB.
Okay, excellent. Getting down to the cellular level, this is what our cells expect of us. This is what we need to give them. It's completely within our control to give our cells what they need. And in doing so, we're talking about completely eliminating diabetes, cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and a myriad of other diseases.
But indeed, it truly is there. I mean, the DNA is the code. If anybody asks me what I consider health to be, can I define the quality of good health? Good health is the application of the DNA program. If we would obey the code written in our DNA, then our cells would perform according to that code. It's us that absconds with that code. We're the ones that mess it up. We're the ones that refuse to apply ourselves to what the cells ask of us. We get a sense then of ourselves as a whole human being, but then we also get the sense that we are no longer able to, with disregard, do anything that we care to do to ourselves. We now must take a look at what we require to generate that quality of health, that application of the proper DNA code.